So what's the most efficient way to digest information?
Yeah, and so my thing is always upgrading our skills. School taught us what to learn, what to read, what to remember, what to focus on, a lot to what to think.
Yeah.
But not how to do those things. You know, I think a missing ingredient in our education system is this thing called meta-learning.
Okay.
Meta-learning means learning how to learn.
Yes.
So it's one of those things school taught us, you know, subjects like math and history and science and Spanish, but it's been really useful to learn classes on focus, you know, on study techniques, on reading faster. You know, I always thought it should have been the fourth R in school: reading, writing, arithmetic. Obviously, spelling wasn't one of them, but what about remembering, retention, recall?
Yeah.
Socrates said learning is remembering. So, you know, I feel like the trick is to learn how to learn, and I think it's the biggest superpower you could have nowadays.
Okay. How do we learn?
How do we learn
more efficiently?
More efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could turn this into masterclass. I mean, if people are listening to this, if they could grab some notes too, I'll hopefully drop some practical wisdom for everybody. You know, whether you're in school, you're starting a business, whatever you are, age or stage of your life, I would say 4 keys to learning faster. Remember, I'll use acronyms just to make it, you know, you use acronyms in school?
Of course.
Like HOMES to remember the Great Lakes, like H is Huron, O is Ontario. These are like little tricks.
I never knew a single lake.
Yeah.
You guys knew the Great Lakes?
Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior.
That's amazing.
Ah.
Yeah, there you go. So like
Holmes was like what Mexicans would call each other.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So these little things like so I remember FAST, F-A-S-T. These are 4 tips to learning faster.
Yeah.
So think about a subject or skill you want to, whether it's money, marketing, martial arts, Mandarin, whatever, right? The F in FAST stands for forget, which is interesting for a memory expert to talk about. But I feel like a lot of people don't learn faster because they feel like they know it already, and our ego could get in the way. You know, sometimes. So I think sometimes we have to empty our cup to put new information in.
Okay.
So have a beginner's mind. I would also say forget about distractions. You know, so many people. I mean, we live in a culture of rings, pings, dings, app notifications, social media alert. You know, likes, shares, comments, and we are driven to distraction. And sometimes it helps to learn when you could just focus. And if something comes in your mind, I know it's difficult, but focus is a muscle. And it's use it or lose it.
Question about that.
Yeah.
I open my phone. I imagine everybody in this room does this. I open my phone to do a single thing.
Yeah.
Dove will say, hey, can you do us a favor and text the restaurant and let them know that we'll be late? I open my phone because I want to do that. And then I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on and then I forgot why I opened my fucking phone in the first place. Is this just not a useful tool for executing tasks?
You know, I love technology. Technology for me is, you know, it has a light and a dark side, right? Like fire is technology. Fire could cook your food or fire could burn down your home. It's just how it's applied. I love technology because it makes our lives convenient. Like it's so convenient. It allows this to happen, right? It allows us to reach and impact and encourage and challenge people. And I would say that you want technology as a tool for you to use. But if the technology is using you, then who becomes the tool?
Yes.
You know, in the equation. And
so we're being used, essentially.
At some time, I would say that use it purposefully. But when, you know, I have on our podcast, we had Dr. BJ Fogg, and he runs a lab at Stanford University on habits. And he's like the #1 habit expert. And I believe first you create your habits, then your habits create you. But one of his students actually co-founded Instagram. And think about how habitual that app is, right? How addictive it is. Yeah. And, you know, we open it, 100 times a day? Yeah. And if somebody's not opening it 100 times, if they're doing it 10 times, that means somebody's opening it a lot more to get that average. And I'm just saying that if we're doing it mindlessly, then it's kind of driving us to distraction, but we're using purpose.
I'm sure somebody has done this analogy before, but like, you know, in like movies back in the day when the people who had sex the night before would wake up, the first thing they would do, right, is they'd roll over and they'd grab a cigarette, they light the cigarette and smoke it, right? What is the first thing that we all do the second we wake up in the morning? Before I kiss my fiance, I grab my phone and just, did we get some likes and some validation? Like, I have the validation I need next to me, asleep for the rest of my life, but I'm looking on the phone. Did some strangers think I was funny yesterday? It is so addictive. It's terrifying. Yeah. But it is so, at least for me, they've convinced me it's so useful, and it has provided so much, right? It's provided a career for me, my friends, salvation in a lot of ways in terms of like economic mobility. So it's like, it's hard for me to hate it. And it's really hard for me to tell people not to be on it.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck am I to say, don't be on your phone when like being on your phone helped me build this?
Yep. I think it's a balance. I mean, so people, and I'm not one to say for anybody just, to judge. People should do whatever works for them. And I'm just saying sometimes when we say yes to somebody or something, make sure we're not saying no to the important things for ourselves. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Where if you're touching your phone the first thing in the morning, you're rewiring your brain for like distraction. You're rewiring your brain for reaction, to fight fires and respond to everybody else, as opposed to designing your day, around the things that are most important for you. So I'm not, and again, I'm online and we do a lot of things online. And I would just say having some kind of balance. And so everyone can make a choice. In my book, Limitless, I have a quote from a French philosopher, and he says, life is the C between B and D. And you think about, like, we're speaking in tongues. B stands for birth, D is death, and C, life, choice. I believe that everything comes down to choices, that our life is a reflection of all the choices we made up to this point.
Yeah.
Who are we going to spend time with? What are we going to eat? What are we going to do? And that sum total is where we are today. And we could always at any time make a new choice. And so I'm saying, if you have your phone, be on your phone. And ask yourself, is this getting the result that I want? So if it's distraction and you're just doing it, people are just doing it out of habit, that's where I'd be concerned.
Do you break up, and I want to get back to what you were talking about with fast but do you break up your technological devices for the different things that you use them for? Like, do you have a tablet just to read so you don't have messages popping in? Or are you able to just do everything there and you just work that ability to not get distracted?
I mean, my focus is pretty strong because I train it and it's a practice. So there's ways we could talk about training your focus.
Yeah.
Most people are training their distraction muscles, so they're flexing it all the time and they wonder why they read a page in a book and forgot what they just read. They get somebody's name and it disappears out of their mind. They were going to say something and they're like lost that thought because they're just driven to distraction because their mind is always multitasking and try to do multiple things. And I would say that if you could control your environment, it would be great if people could afford it to have a device just for entertainment and another device just for work, just to help them to focus and eliminate distractions. But it's hard. It's that simple, but it's that difficult at the same time.
How are we training ourselves for distraction?
So one of the things is, especially when you wake up, right? When you wake up, you're in this relaxed state and you're very, very suggestible, right? And so if you pick up your phone, you're rewiring your brain for distraction because like we talked about, every like, share, comment, cat video, whatever, you get this dopamine flood, right? And dopamine gives you happiness and it goes along the learning and motivation centers of your nervous system. And that's what makes it addictive, right? You just want more and more and more. And keep in mind, like, these platforms have invested countless dollars, billions of dollars. They have the best psychologists to be able to engineer us spending more time. And again, it's just giving people free will and choice. So I would say that having this device there, as much as you can be able to control it and exercise your will. And as long as it's not taking you from away, like distraction, the opposite is traction, right? And so if you're making traction in your life, in your career, in your business, in school, distraction is things that take you away from that path. And so I would just ask yourself, is this giving me what I want in the moment? And it's not easy at all, right?
Yeah.
It's very addictive. We have videos online where we talk about just even having a phone at a dinner table stresses people out. Their anxiety goes up. Even if it's face down, you just feel the drive to pick it up. It's
it is so true. There's two phones on the table. A buddy of mine, like Giannis Papas, has a funny joke about this, but that I'm not going to butcher right now because I don't remember it, unfortunately. But having the phone on the table is like you're in this conversation, and if that conversation lags at all, your eyes just start like drifting to that thing that can make you feel good in the moment. So they're hiring people like you essentially to do bad things. So you're a force of good. You're like, hey, be careful, guys. This is how you should live your life, and this is how we can optimize our brain and not be tricked by these scientists that are basically going, how do we trick people?
I would say that I don't know. I want to talk about conspiracies, but I'm just saying that we have to be 100% responsible for our life. We're not a victim or at the effect.
Okay.
And as much as control we could have in directing the course as opposed to being at the effect, then I would opt for that.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
If you can get me addicted to my phone, can that same technology get me addicted to working out?
Yeah.
Can it get, no?
Yeah.
Oh, it can.
Of course, yeah. The same principles.
Well, let's fucking go. I mean, is that what Peloton is? Is that what like...
Soul Cycle and all the things that people get like big rushes from? Yeah. I would love, for me, it's always habits is all about making what's good for you easy and making what's bad for you more difficult. Like if picking up the phone is really driving you to, in putting a wedge between you and your relationship or your health or your work, then, ideally don't have the phone in the bedroom if you can help it, because then it just makes it easier. It's just like, let's say somebody doesn't feel good when they eat bread, but they love bread, and the waitstaff brings bread to the table. It's easier to say no up front than having it sit there and just like, no, 50 times during dinner, right? And so set up the environment for you to win. Yeah, I think that would be pretty wise.